Welcome back to a brand new video. Before I forget, as I've forgotten the past like 2-3 videos, you see that thing with the subscribe, you go do that now. I keep forgetting to do it. Hit the notification bell so you know when new videos are coming out. But yeah, today is the first day it's been dry-ish. It's still a bit damp and wet on the floor, but it's half dry, I'd say. So it's the first day I've actually been able to do like my first drive video. Obviously I've been driving this about a week now, so I'm not getting used to it, but I'm sort of understanding the car more. But in the wet or the damp, this does spin up like hell and literally tries to kill you, which is always fun. So I'm gonna put in like M2 mode now, which is on the steering wheel, so then like my heads-up display will go to the revs and the speed smaller and tell me what gear I'm in. The traction goes like half off, everything goes sportier. You have like a selection of gearing, so you can have it in like 1, 2 or 3. 3 being like it's fucking like feels like you're in the wrong gear because you got to shift that quick. 1 being drive normally. It's in 3 now. I'm gonna put it to 2 because honestly the only time you'd ever need 3 I'd think would be on a racetrack. Like it is that like fucking punchy with it. But I've been trying to get used to this car in the way of just understanding the rear wheel drive, like a fast rear wheel drive car. I'm not used to it, but literally simply put your foot down. Like then, right, I was in second, blipped the front. I'm in a 60, yeah, I was doing 40, and the back was already spinning up. I was second. Like, can you feel and hear that? Like it's just fighting for traction, but it can't get it. Like the traction's off obviously because if it's on, then it's gonna be slowing you down, but you can feel it sort of like hesitant simply because the wet. It needs to be drier, but it's like in the higher speed, you can, like there, it twitches. But on a higher speed like dual carriage or whatever, it's fine. It's just these back roads. It's still a bit too wet to give it to them. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to just everywhere I go, I'm not even going fast. I don't want to go fast, and it's just the back end just twitching. Like all it does is twitch. Fuck me. Right, let's find some drier roads because it's not working. It's just not working. I need dry, semi-straight roads to get any power down at the moment. Because at the moment it's like dancing on ice. I need to find a wider road. Here we go. We'll go around here. See what we can find. It's so like grunty-ish loud stock as well. It just sounds mean. Like, I'll try to put the window down a bit. It sounds savage, honestly. But where we're about to join on to, I can actually put my foot down and not have to worry because it'll be all dry. It's had the sun in it all morning and it's straight. So I think we should be mint. Let's try this one, shall we? The heads-up display makes you feel like you're driving like a rocket ship because all you can see is the revs going up to the red, the gear shift going up, and the speedo climbing as well. It's such a sick like driving experience to feel, but you can't really film it because it's hard to set up a camera at that angle, and everyone would just cry about it, which is obviously the shit part. But honestly, the most sketchiest thing about driving this car is when it's the slightest bit wet. All the back end does is this fucking snake everywhere. So you're just like sliding your tyres up. I haven't even mapped it yet, and it's just shredded, like fishtailing up the road. You've got to get used to it and try and be as confident as you can, because if you're hesitant with it, you end up in the bush. If you go too far with it, you end up drifting, probably end up in the bush. But there's that in-between balance of control. It's just the part I'm trying to still find, because it's very difficult to find it. Because sometimes it spins up when you least expect it. I know, like when you map these stage 2, even when you're going into third in a straight road, the back end's still spinning up because it has to fight that hard. It's fucking ridiculous. Like honestly, like I don't know, I've never experienced anything like it before. It's so aggressive from standard. It's got so many settings to play around to make it exactly how you want to drive it. It's great, but fucking scary. It's fucking quick. Like, you honestly don't notice the speed until you look up and you're like, fuck. But we're going, we'll look down, I guess you could say. But it drives so nice and you feel so, like, in a weird way, safe and secure in the car because of how the steering wheel's such a nice positioning, and like it's weird, like it's very chunky but it's not really nice to hold. The seats keep you tight. I've even got my heated seat on to keep my arse warm whilst I'm shitting myself, so it's the perfect balance between drivability, comfort and like pure aggression, and it's just such a nice driving experience. You can understand why some people have these and make them as crazy. Like, someone's even now made a single turbo one of these. I think it was like Joker M4 or something. I was looking on Instagram, and that looks and sounds fucking insane. Like, it's ridiculous. So yeah, since owning this for like a week now, I have noticed when you go raggo, the fucking fuel to empty climbs down fast and the speedo seems to climb up. Can't lie, that is when it hits. That's when the 3 litre twin turbo is like guzzling the fuel. But when you're just driving normally on like the motorway, it's not bad at all. But obviously you know that when buying these cars, so it's sort of part of owning it. You know that there's no other car that's not gonna do that. Every single car's gonna do that, but it makes up for it in being fun as fuck to drive. I haven't seen anyone put like KWs on this. I think Ricky had it on his M4, and I reckon that handle's savage, because when I drove it, it didn't have it. And obviously it was the first time I'm ever driving an M4, and your first time driving an M4 on a 700 brake, you're a bit very weary about driving it. But the more I get used to driving this, I'm like, oh my god, it is so good. Like, everything, the power to control balance. The one shit thing about it is definitely the diff. It can't put power down for shit low down. Like, low down speed trying to climb is shit until you go grip. Like, it's got 10J wheels on the rear. That's like as wide as the steering wheel. They need to be wider. It needs more grip. It needs more girth in the tyres. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna have to buy like 11 or 12J wheels for this. Like, I don't know how they'd fit in it, but it needs to be girthier in a weird way, just to physically put the power down. They need to be wider, which is ridiculous. I've never had that with any car. Like, no matter how much power you put through it, usually it's fine. With this, even from stock, it struggles to get it down, which makes it fun as fuck to drive, but also scary and sketchy as fuck at the same time. But I guess it's one of them ones where that's why it's a driver car. Like, you wouldn't buy this car unless you bought it to drive it properly, sort of thing. Like, you wouldn't. So with a Golf R, anyone can own them. Like, any age range, everyone and anyone you'll see in them. But with an M4, I think you see like a distinct sort of person would own it. I'm definitely not that person yet. It still scares the shit out of me. But I feel like I'm learning, I'm getting more confident with it. But it's just one of them ones where you have to be always confident with the car, otherwise you're going to get caught out by the car. But that's part of the fun of learning, I guess, isn't it? You don't hate it.
I do hate it.
Why would you hate it?
Because it's scary.
It's not fucking scary.
Everywhere
it's
we
fun.
go, I feel like I'm going to throw up.
That's a good
I'd
sign.
rather get on a roller coaster, and I don't like roller coasters.
This is more fun though.
It's not.
It is.
Stop. Just drive like a normal person.
Anyway, this car is so fun to drive. There is not a more fun. Like, I drove a GTR at Vegas a couple years ago for my birthday, like we're on a track, and I got the new Honda NSX, and that was sick. It was fun. You're on track, but it's still not as fun as this, because I feel like this, the M4 or like rear-wheel drive fast cars I never drove before, give you the thrill factor and make you feel like you're going to die every time you drive it. And And that's why people buy them and want to drive them, because it literally scares the shit out of you, and it gives you such a adrenaline buzz. It's such a sick feeling, and I understand why people track them. Like I kept saying before I bought this, like, I'd never ever drive on a track, nothing. And then whenever you go to like the Nürburgring, there is so many M4s and M3s, like they literally use them as taxi cars. They don't even modify them in any way apart from suspension to go around that track. They don't map them, nothing, and they're still silly quick. And I can see why, because they're just so fun and they're obviously great at what they do. It's just the driver lets the car down. I feel like the car never lets the driver down, the driver lets the car down. Whereas the car's got so many skills and madness to it that as a driver you need to be able to understand and know how to use it properly, otherwise you end up in the ditch. So it's definitely, the car knows what it's doing, it's just the driver know how to control it, which is scary obviously, because when you drive like a full drive car, it doesn't really matter what you do, it's always going to catch you and you're going to be okay. With this it's definitely not that case. Like if you just try to put your foot down, you are fucked. Like, not being funny, you are fucked beyond belief, because you've got to know when it's going to twitch, or you've got to know how much throttle to put in before it becomes too much. But it is the most fun, thrilling thing in the world. I'm about to go for a park, and there is no ride that will give me as much of a buzz as driving this car, because it's that savage and amazing. Like, oh my god, just so good, apart from for fuel. But we're not including that in this review, I guess you could say. So I think I'll leave it here, just because I don't want to do too much before my tyres go bald and my fuel goes empty and I get stuck somewhere. But I'm now stuck in traffic anyway, so what's the point of me doing anything else? Thank you all so much for watching. Please leave a like, comment down below what you think, what you want to see next. Should I map it? Should I wrap it? I've got a bunch of stuff sorted for this car, so it's going to look really sick and sound and be really fucking sick soon. Just let me know what you want to see, and hit that subscribe button. Check out the Patreon, check out B7 Performance, check out the store, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.